Hello there. Today I'm going to show you an updated demonstration of how to use the Hubspot prospects tool, which has changed considerably since its release a few years back, especially since they've moved it over to the now renamed sales tool. So how do we get there? First thing you should know is that Sidekick has been renamed. It's no longer there. And the prospects tool was moved from the marketing side of HubSpot to the sales side year and a half ago. And it's now located here under the sales tool menu. This is really the old Sidekick tool. And if you come into the prospects tool, this is what you'll see. Now, why do I think this is a big deal? Why should you be worried about this? All right. The short answer is that this is really going to be a demonstration of getting a company from the prospects tool to the companies tool. Why is that a big deal? Well, it may not be documented very well, but companies that visit your website show up on the prospects tool, but somewhere around the 6-month mark, they fall off of the tool. You can't see them anymore. And so even though they knocked on your door, you lose visibility of them and you paid a lot of money to get them there. So when you get them over into your company's tool right here, you can now continue to work on them, because especially in complex sales cycles routinely stretch 18 months, and 6 months is just not enough to do it. So going to do a little bit of maneuvering around here. It's really a pretty straightforward thing. But what you're seeing here is our particular visits for the last few, I think for just this month is the number. And I have several views. In different videos I've shown you how to create views, but views are simply a subset of the overall part. And I've got a couple things I want to show you about the views I do have set up. And then we're going to focus down on one prospect. I'm going to show you why it's important to get that over into the company's database. So we'll see if this is any good. So here's a particularly interesting. Companies with Twitter profiles. So the system saw that a company visited, and it was able to find out that the company has a Twitter profile. And here you go. There's 4,341 in this particular view that have visited. And that means that if you wanted, you could create a list on Twitter. By the way, this is highly recommended. Of those companies, a particular list of companies that have visited your website with a Twitter profile, and then you could monitor them, right? Well, let's just go down here and see if we can find one particular company that seems to like us a lot. So Pfizer Inc., you may have heard of them. I believe they have several famous pills out there that are, at least one is colored blue. And you'll notice up here this little blue line, and website visits, company insights, and news events, which is a beta thing you may not have access to. Well, the all-seeing eye, if you hover right here, it'll show up. And if you do this, you kind of see the activity and about the company. All right, so this is what it means when it says company insights. We're going to jump over there. And this particular window also shows you other companies that are related. So let's say you had a sales force that was segregated out by industry. Well, it would be very handy for them to know that all these other companies are in this HubSpot company database already, and at least some of them have probably visited your website. But here's the more interesting part, and we're going to dive into a little bit more about what the system can tell you about companies in just a second. But here is, on this particular one, all the recent activity. Now, if someone comes to the website and they don't convert, and by convert it means they complete a form or they subscribe, and they create an email address in your system. That's fundamentally what we mean by conversion. They're just an anonymous visitor. Although it turns out that there's been a cookie put on their machine, and if they come back, HubSpot is able to connect that original anonymous visit to the recent visit when they actually do convert. And this can be especially important when you go to run any advertising, for example, through Google Pay-Per-Click. If you're using the HubSpot reporting tool or ads add-on tool, there's a connection in there. But in this particular case, there's a story that these visitors are able to tell you. In this case, our site, which is primarily designed around the subjects of SAP Business Warehouse and SAP Project Management, has repeatedly drawn people from Pfizer in this case, looking at either how to be a better consultant or how to do SAP BW or project management. But it gets more interesting. If you go view recent activity, it expands out. And a lot of them are anonymous, all right? But eventually we get down to a spot where we see some names, right? Keeps going on. You see that they've been on here first 6 months ago. And then we pick up a name right there. In this case, the guy is under a different email domain name, but it's still associated his name with his company. So now we know quite a bit. We know that most likely this guy's working for a company as a contractor for this particular client, and maybe that would be the guy that we would network through to. We can also see what he was there, and this particular guy was evaluating staffing models, and as it happens, our company provides staffing. But what's interesting is this engagement of this company on our website. This is the bigger story, right? We have ample evidence here that we are offering content that they like to consume. And a lot of it's blog, so there's no conversion going to happen. But there's plenty of people that have converted, and we really only need the one. A year ago, they were at our site. But if we keep going and we drag this on down, what we find out is that the system has been receiving visits from this company 4 years, 5 years. So in this case, we have a major international pharmaceutical company sending visits to our site over the course of 5 years. And of course, one of the things that I wanted to talk about today was, the fact that they drop out of the prospects tool after 6 months. But it turns out that if there's at least one conversion that you can connect up, it's able to keep track and it won't drop it. And in this case, you see the little check mark right here? It means I've already put them into our company database. Okay, I'm not going to jump to this company. That's just telling you that we've got content that this particular company is interested in, and that we have probable sales opportunities there. But this demo is really all about the how to get people back to get them from the prospects list to the company tool. So let's just take these guys here. Let's look for a plus. So check mark means we've already done it, and it just a warning here. There isn't a way at the current time to set up a filter up here of all the companies that you have or have not sent over to the company's database. We've raised that as a suggestion with HubSpot, and we assume that they will because obviously some piece of data puts that there. But when you see a plus, you can add this company to your company's database. Now I want you to pay attention to the pop-up that's about to happen, because we're just going to do one right now, but you can do the whole screen if you want. But this is what we do when we do one. You get this little pop out here. It says successfully added Los Angeles County Office of Education. And now we're going to jump over to the company's database. And you see that we have that. It's right there. What we want to do is drill down just a little bit. And now we see a company activity record. All right. This is a little bit different view than what we saw in the prospects tool. Now this company, again, we're in the company side. So in essence, we've taken it from the prospects tool, which is kind of a list of everybody that walked by your store, and now we put them into your Rolodex, your company's database. And we may or may not have any contacts with us. In this case, we do not. But if we find somebody or we can link up to somebody, we can put them in here and we can create deals at the property level. So far, it really hasn't found any events. But let's go and see a bigger company, what the difference is. This is especially critical if you're a sales guy. Let's look for, I don't know, IBM. IBM Corporation. You can see many, many different IBM entries in our company database. We're not really sure why IBM has so many different versions of itself, but that's all right. We go here, we can see quite a bit. You know, we're in the company's part of it. We can drill down. We're going to drill down just on one, see if we pick up any activity records that are useful. And here's what it's doing. This is a much more useful view of it. It's looked back in this particular division of IBM. It's picked up a couple of recent activities on it. And now you're a sales guy. And here's the difference, why you want to get it from prospects to the company's database. If I'm a sales guy, I need a reason to reach out and talk to these guys. It's great if I have a contact, and that's the idea that we're trying to get through as an inbound marketing company is if we can generate a contact, in other words, they knock on your door, that's great. But that won't always keep your pipeline full and help you meet your goal. Now, if we got a couple of pieces of information about the company, boom. Now we've got a reason, at least maybe there's somebody we know in there, or at least we can write an email and say, hey, I just saw that entry. Very common, it's a tactic, it's a sales tactic, but it's all part of establishing a rapport and having a reason to pick up the phone or send the email or go knock on the door. So again, that's how you get from prospects. And we get a lot of visits, so it takes a while to load us up to the company's database. Okay. Now, while we're here, I want to show you a couple of other things that we've done. So I like to keep track of all the companies from Florida. And so in this particular case, it's a smaller list. It's a subset. And I want to know every time somebody from one of these companies revisits my website. So I've got a view set up where the state or the region contains FL, so that's Florida. And I want to set it up so it notifies me. So I hit Manage Notifications, and I just go over here and I turn it on, and Revisit, I turn it on. And I make sure that it's coming to me, and that it's coming to me. So now what I've just done is I've set up essentially a territory for a salesperson such that anytime any of the companies that we've managed to get to visit our company visit or revisit, that person's going to get an email revisit notification, and he can jump over here to companies in that case and look around and see if he's got something that he can use to reach out for. Again, this is Lonnie Ayers. This has been a demo of how to use the Prospects tool and a bit on the strategy in terms of lead revisits, territory setting, and revisit notification, and the importance of getting companies from the Prospects tool to the Companies tool. If you need some SAP BW consulting or SAP project management support or even HubSpot consulting support, that's what we do. Give us a call.